Hi, friends. This is Wendy Harrop, and welcome to the Say Yes to Yourself podcast. On the Say Yes to Yourself podcast, you'll hear stories from women just like us who are adding the practice of saying yes in their daily lives in big and small ways, and as a result, are experiencing the truth that everybody wins when you say yes to yourself. Saying yes to yourself is a graceful unfolding, an intentional becoming of the very best version of you. It is my hope that in these conversations, we are able to find our truth and be inspired and empowered to live our very best lives. I'm so excited to go on this journey with you, and I look forward to finding a bit of our own story in each other's. Hello, my friend. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so happy to have you here. It continues to be a flurry of fabulous activity here at the Phineas Wright House. We are finishing up with the painters. I'm going to be posting pictures of all of the fabulous transformation that has happened here at the house. It's just so fun, and it's fascinating to witness kind of myself in the process of all of this energy moving, with rooms being reimagined and redesigned, and objects and items and narratives that are no longer in service to me moving out, and really just taking the opportunity that 2025 being a 9-year, as we learned a couple of weeks ago from Dina Barron, just taking all of that information and then allowing that to be the permission slip that has been this giant yes to myself to create a space, a home, a nurturing environment for Amelia and I that is supportive of the women that we are becoming and the women that I happily and humbly host for solo retreats, for space to dream retreats, for farm stays. It's just so much goodness, and it's all happening under the roof of my very own home. It just couldn't be better, but I know it will be. More good things are on the way. I'm certain of it. And I'm so delighted to be sharing that with you in real time here on the podcast, but also through these stories of these amazing women that we have the honor of hearing and sharing in their stories. Today's guest is Alexandra Frew. And before I tell you about her and how we met, we realized that this conversation really brought us to the time that we both spent, not realizing that we were there at the same time, but we spent some time in Edinburgh earlier this year. And I was so taken by that city that I have created a beautiful curated trip just for you and me to go together to Edinburgh in July of 2026. So we will be there the 6th through the 10th. And our focus will be, of course, culinary treasures and gardens and castles. How fun is that? So the details are continuing to come together, but the itinerary is on the website. You can save your spot. We also have some trips that are coming up for France that are more focused. I'm doing a collaboration with the Cognac Jewelry School. So there's an all-inclusive week of foundational jewelry making. So if that's something that delights you and is in your heart, then I invite you to check those weeks out. There are just a few spots left for the Cognac Jewelry School trips. I'm also doing an amazing immersive trip at Walnut Grove Cookery, which is a fabulous cooking school in Normandy, France, that is run by Chef Eric, who was with us on our Normandy trip in September. He's amazing. This is a trip for somebody who really wants to up-level their culinary game. This is not sitting around the kitchen island with a glass of wine in our hand watching my friend Jeff make magic. This is more of a yes, chef situation. So, if that is something that is on your heart in the new year to bring a fun, fabulous experience into your life, but also come away with a legit skill and a certification on the other side of it, then I invite you to look at either the Walnut Grove Cookery trip, which is at the beginning of September, or any of the Cognac Jewelry School trips that we have a couple spots for May, a few spots for August, and one spot left for September. So if that is in your heart, hooray. And if you're wanting to follow your bliss with me in Edinburgh, Scotland, we will be there July 6th through the 10th. It's all just so fun. And I think you are going to be more intrigued by this fabulous city after you listen to this fun conversation with my friend Alexandra Frew. Alexandra is a former teacher who used a decade of experience and her skill set to make a career leap into retail business management. Alex has been on an extended gap year for actually a couple of years now that was initially needed to deal with family and home manners, including the death of elderly parents. After a life dominated by work and busy with family, Alex has been consciously asking herself how best she can make the most of her discretionary time. During lockdown, she took part in a course led by Jane Webster called The Next 30 Years to explore this topic with a small group of inspiring, like minded women, and that's where she and I met. About that same time, Alex came across information about her ancestry that has taken her on a learning journey that has been fun and fulfilling in many unexpected ways. A naturally curious person, Alex attributes the workshop discussions and, in particular, one of Jane's mind mapping exercises for the ways she subconsciously approached this ancestry research and the positive experiences it has led to. I can't wait for you to hear more from Alexandra Frew. Please enjoy this delightful conversation. Sweet Alex, I am so delighted to have you here. It has been far too long, so I am eager to hear your latest. I'm eager to hear your yeses. I'm just so looking forward to and already in appreciation of what I know will be a fabulous conversation. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you, Wendy. It was lovely of you to ask me, and I came out of the blue completely.
That's so funny because anytime I'm like 3 minutes into a conversation with a woman and she is telling me what is just her latest, I'm getting my phone out to send the link to get on the podcast because there all of these beautiful yeses are so gorgeous. And I think in to us, when it's our experience, we're like, oh, it's not a big deal or nobody cares about that. And I just love the way that we're incorporating the self-care practice in big and small ways really is in service because we find a piece of our story in each other's.
I think you have an exceptional talent for being open towards those conversations. And ours wasn't actually a conversation, it was a text message. And then you said you'd been in Edinburgh, and I said, "What?" And we were there for 3 days in the same city, and we didn't know. And I could have met you.
So fun because I feel like we've already met. I forgot until this moment that we haven't actually met.
That's how it feels to me too. And we did meet. Well, when was this
Oh
workshop?
gosh, we were in Jane's I Want More class at the beginning of 2022, right before I was going to spend my Chateau Life residency there. with
Ah,
Amelia. And that's when I decided to complete with my marriage. And now we're having this conversation, and it is finally complete. It's been a road.
it certainly has. But look at everything you've done. 2022. I can't believe that. So it's actually 3 years.
Yeah,
So that's how long we have known each other.
we're old friends.
Amazing. But I feel as if that was a really special thing that we shared. And from that, it was really a springboard, wasn't it, for a lot of things you've done and achieved
Yes.
and experienced. And for me, it was the first time that I had really taken a conscious look at how I wanted to spend my time. And I think that's why I mentioned in my bio that the whole activity of brainstorming, what did I want out of the next 30 years, has meant that it's opened my mind, I suppose, to opportunities that crop up every day, because I know whether or not they fit into what I want. And prior to that, when you're busy with work and family, you just sort of put things either on the back shelf or you say, I'll do that. And you might spend a day on something for a couple of hours, but you don't realize that it could be so much more.
Right.
So I feel as if I was primed and poised, ready to take opportunities up with two hands. And instead of it just being another thing I tick off the list, it's meant that it's able to become a lot more than that. So yes, that was fabulous, and we were all doing that in that workshop, but in different ways. We were all approaching our lives what we wanted, and I think that was fabulous too, to share conversations with other women who were thinking about similar concepts and willing to share.
Yeah, it was amazing. That's right when we started airing this podcast, also, because Jane was my co host when I first started. And we had just started in December, was the first episode. And then we were in that class in January. That's so amazing. So tell me, how are you saying yes to yourself in this season? And where has that yes taken you?
Well, Wendy, I am looking for ways that I can live my life with purpose. And I'm very aware that the years just fly by. And we see
Hmm.
that in our children, I suppose, as they grow. Our son is 23 now.
Wow.
And we're based in Melbourne in Victoria. My husband is from Edinburgh.
Oh, I didn't
And
know that.
yes, he's Edinburgh, Scottish born. So we've gone back every couple of years to Edinburgh, but the trips have all been based around our son spending time with his grandparents, who are now both deceased, and getting to know his family. And he feels as if Edinburgh is an extension of his home. It's just where we go. And those trips have always been based around family. But recently, I decided that I would like to get back to Europe, because being an Aussie, when you're so close to Europe, it's very difficult not to go traveling.
Right.
So we took him to Venice one year and he loved that. He said there was a lot of water. That was his,
His takeaway.
as a 14-year-old, but I think now he would appreciate a lot more. So Mark and I were there a couple of times last year and again this year. So we're using it now as a base
Mm,
and somewhere that he can spend time with his family. I can spend time with his family, and we can both do things that we enjoy. Some of them together and some of them maybe separate interests.
right.
So very fortunate to have that base now and an opportunity to travel, the time. So a couple of years ago, I met some people who said that they were going to a particular part of Germany at Easter this year. And I thought I would love to do that, because my family background on both sides, maternal and paternal, is half German and half Scottish.
Oh, wow.
And so when I knew that this trip was a possibility, I decided that I'd like to learn more about East Germany or Prussia and the history. So I started reading up about the history. And then I thought, well, if I'm planning to go there, maybe I need to learn German, which I did a year at school, but I really didn't enjoy it. And I thought, I better push through that, because that could be handy if I'm traveling.
Right.
That has led on to German classes and a lovely group of people who we struggle with German together, but that's been a lovely thing. So the last couple of years, it really has thrown me into lots of exploration, learning, researching, finding out about my particular family and the names and the villages they came from, and wondering if I could actually find which village they came from and whether there were any church records.
Wow.
So taking it back to the exercise we did with Jane, some of the things I had said were that I wanted to learn. I'm a lifelong learner, so I really wanted to learn, continuing to learn. Wanted a project that made me feel as if I was learning, but also I was progressing and doing something worthwhile, whether it was for the community or my family, whatever. And I wanted to develop connections. I remember saying this a lot, connections with family, connections with new people, maybe communities, other groups. And when I look back now and what this trip meant, it meant that I covered all those things, those three things, big things for me. So if I hadn't done that exercise, I maybe wouldn't have explored it as much. I would have just said, I'll go on the trip.
It's so beautiful. I love this intention setting before you even realized that you were intention setting. You were mind mapping and brainstorming and holding space for yourself to dream and to not be attached to the outcome or the actual process, but to the feeling and to connection and to purpose and to knowledge and growth and expansion. Like those are such beautiful things. And I love how your yes, was guided and you took time for yourself. It was a long class, 6 weeks or something, I think, but we've
Mm.
stayed connected to each other as well as a group, even through
Mhm.
that time. And it just was the breadcrumb that led to the next breadcrumb. But it also, like you said, it allowed you to incorporate this opportunity of a trip into your intentional plan for the next 30 years. I love it.
And I think intentional plan, that's great because I didn't know how to explain it, but there you've just said it in 2 words, Wendy. But it was a
So good.
subconscious intentional plan. Well, yes, it was an intentional plan, but then I was doing it subconsciously.
Yeah.
So, yes. But if you haven't done that work, Wendy, you don't really, you're not open to it. You're not open to the opportunities. You don't see them quite the same.
Right. And you're just kind of watching life is happening around you, but you're kind of almost you're experiencing it by default, like it's a movie you're watching instead of realizing when you're deliberately creating the experience you want, you realize, oh, I'm actually the director of this movie. I'm not just watching this movie happen. I can change what's on the screen and make a different choice and have a different experience
And I think that's exactly what you may have done too, Wendy.
over and
You're
over
very
and
good at that.
over.
I'm fortunate to be in the position where I could go off and do a trip,
Right.
and with like-minded people. Again, I shared a part of the experience with the people on this trip that was only small, but they had a lot of wisdom, experience, knowledge, and we were all looking for our villages. In itself, you don't often go with other people who are doing such a niche.
A pilgrimage.
Exactly. So anyway, I have a letter from an aunt who wrote it back in before the wall came down, and she had tried to get into East Germany to do this trip, and she did get a little way, but it was one. She only spent 1 day, and it was quite fraught with all
Mm.
sorts of tensions about being watched and suspicion. What are you doing here? And she had to have special passes and whatever. And so she didn't get very far. So that was another thing. I felt as if, in one way, I had then picked up where she left off and carried on that work. So I just wish they were all around to hear my experience, and to know more about their family ancestry. But that was another, I suppose, emotional part of that journey, which on reflection is quite interesting that she started and I've kind of finished it.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And what will you do now with all of these findings and this research and the experience?
Well, I would like to write down, I do want to capture it for myself as far as the personal journey it's taken me on. But I also want to create something that the family can understand because not everyone's going to be able to visit. I'd like to really paint a picture of the culture and why our family may have left and what they were looking for and the things they had to leave behind. So yes, I'm going to do something, Wendy, and when it's done, I'll share it with you. But at
Oh,
the
thank
moment, I
you.
actually have to really work out where to start.
I bet. I mean, with any life-changing transformational experience, which the unfolding preparation and then actual travel, unpacking that after the fact is so profound because you went with curiosity. There are expectations, and I'm sure some were met and some were exceeded and some were not met. So then unpacking all of that and then creating a narrative that is your story, but for other people to read who it's also a part of their story,
Mm.
that's a that's a big undertaking.
That might be my next few years, Wendy. I may not have to
Right.
look for another project for a while. I did write before I went on the trip. I wrote down my feelings about how I was feeling excited and I had no idea what it was going to be like and how would I feel if I did find church records, which I did, in church books back from the 1700s amazing. And so I did write that, how I would feel, and then I thought I'll go back and look. But we're just back from Scotland recently, so I haven't looked at that. I think it'll be interesting to see now what I was thinking and whether I've changed from that. But anyway, it was something that is big, but it is on two personal, one is personal level, which I don't need to share with everyone, but the other part is history, isn't it? And it's,
Right.
yeah, trying to hold that so that can be handed down.
It's so beautiful. I am so appreciative that you are doing this for your family. I really treasure tradition and history and story, and it's really the driving factor, besides it's beautiful in Massachusetts, of why I moved from California to Massachusetts because my family is from here and my parents met and married on the East Coast and moved to the West Coast just a few weeks before I was born. So in California, it was just our immediate family, but when we would come to Massachusetts and visit, there's cousins and aunts and uncles and all of these people that know us. And I love just to, I went into a restaurant and my aunt and uncle were there and I wasn't going to meet them. I just happened on them and I just thought, oh my gosh, this doesn't happen in California. So it's for someone who didn't really, I'm like the first generation of breaking free from tradition and I'm wanting to come back and recreate some and make some new ones. It's just fascinating.
Yes, I understand that. It's the same when we're in Scotland, but I don't know that I have living family. But to think that you're even just in the same area where they were is wonderful. But for you to have that experience of, well, this is where my family live, it's all those connections, isn't it? That you obviously appreciate. Yes,
Yeah.
it's funny how people run away, but sometimes they come back.
Right. And it's just interesting how some people are drawn to knowing about themselves and how their family history plays out. And some people have zero interest in that and they just want to go on the
Yes.
vacation with the surfboards or whatever. Like, It's just really, I
Yes.
love the diversity.
Yes, I agree. And for me, my grandmother used to talk about the fact that her parents or her grandparents came from a place where it was in the country that's now called Germany, but one of her mother's family spoke a slightly different type of language to what her father did because they were straight German. And I was always trying to understand this, but she never managed to get back there because it was closed, it was locked down, it was East Germany. So part of me is doing it for her, you know, so that even though she couldn't go and visit, her offspring or her children have also passed away, but that our generation and the younger generation will have an appreciation of where she came from. So yes, I am doing it for my grandmother and my parents. Yeah.
I love it. And your grandchildren, your future grandchildren.
That's right. And it's not living in the past because it's all about the future as well, because these people are trying to keep the culture going. You know, it's very much a living culture, even though the numbers are dwindling. So, yes, on many levels.
Oh, it's so good. So what is next? You're going to compile this, but what is next outside of this trip for you? Tell me about the woman you're becoming.
Well, this will be ongoing because I'm actually on the committee for the Wendish Society in Victoria, and it is a group of people who share Wendish heritage. So I am involved in activities where we promote the heritage, but we also get together and try to promote Wendish because not a lot of people don't know about what Wendish is or the culture. They've never heard of it, even though they might have German background. So I'm still involved very much with that. I'm still involved now. I have more notes on the family history and dates and records and where they came from. So I can still do more research on that. I'm still keeping up with the German, although yes, I'm still still trying to
Wow.
push through some of the difficult aspects of learning another foreign language. And I will now look again at the brainstorm that I did and see how things are fitting in there and whether I want to shift a bit to the left or to the right, or whether I've got something completely new that I'd like to take up. So that's what I'm doing, Wendy.
So good. It's so fun to have options.
It's not a start and a stop. It's a
Right.
continuum.
And unfolding.
Yes. And our son's now staying in Edinburgh at the moment. So I will be back to Scotland, I think, next year. And maybe I'll be able to see you.
Fantastic. I will be there in July.
Is that for just a trip?
I'm leading a trip. I loved it there. I had no idea. I was going for a workshop, an Abraham Hicks workshop, and my roommate from 25 years ago lives in Edinburgh with her family. So I thought, "Oh, great. I'll do both things." So I went to visit her for 3 or 4 days before the workshop, and then some friends came in to town, one from the US and one from just outside of London. And we had such a beautiful time. And I walked like 60 miles in 6 days while attending a 2-day workshop and 10-course lunches and whiskey tastings. It was just such a beautiful, walkable, enjoyable experience. So I'm leading a trip there in July, the 6th through the 10th. And we're going to do all sorts of fun and fabulous things, some that I just mentioned, and also go out and visit like the Highlands and do some exploring outside the city as well.
Oh, well, I'd love to see. I'd
Perfect.
love to see the program that you have developed.
Yes, and I'd love your insight as well, since and we'll definitely be doing a tasting at that Height of Arrows, their gin. I loved it.
Yes, I think that's the thing about Edinburgh. It is a walkable city. And coming back to Melbourne, we're already feeling it because I think we're up to 4 million, 4.5 million people
Wow.
here. And Edinburgh, well, the whole of Scotland only has about, I don't know, three and a half, I was going to say between 3.5 and 5, somewhere in between that million people. And Edinburgh's about 600,000, I think, 5 to 600,000 people.
Nice.
And because it's ringed by those 7 mountains, it actually geographically, physically, it's this that town is a certain size. Obviously, you can go over the hills, but that's kept it to a manageable human size, I think.
I didn't know that, but that really speaks to the culture and the feeling while you're there. I felt so connected to that place.
And also Edinburgh, particularly, if you go to Glasgow, it looks very different. But Edinburgh has very strict planning rules. And so you will have noticed their buildings are only so many stories high. And they're not allowed to build over that height of the original building on that site, which means you don't have high rises. It's a completely
Right.
different, isn't it? A completely different landscape in town. And the new town was developed because they had a fairly unpleasant problem with population growth 200 whatever years ago, 300 years ago. And so they had a competition to see if someone could design. Did you know about that? The competition they held
Nope.
to develop the other side of the south side of town. So, or the north side. I get south and north mixed up there because it's the opposite hemisphere. Um, so they actually held a competition because they wanted to develop the other side of the town. And so you get a uniformity in building style,
Sure.
and that's why. So they developed that side of the other side of town at the same time. And so it gives it a beautiful classic layout, the way it's. So you've got the old town, which is the old it's all, a lot of it's cobblestones, but the meandering, winding streets, different levels, little closes, little alleys, and yes, multi-level. And then the new town is all beautifully designed, planned out with circuses and roads. So I think that adds to the visual of it. And then wherever you look, you're seeing a mountain, a hill, or a view of the Firth of Forth, the water view. So it's quite spectacular, isn't it?
It is. I cannot wait to go back and I can't wait to see you there. And then I need to go to Australia as well.
Well, it's a bit further. Yes, we'd
I
love
know,
to
but
see you.
I have people there. I've made friends.
Great if you could come. We'd love to see you.
I
I'd
will
love to
come.
see you here.
I'll stay for a
I'd
month
love it.
because I need to pop around to all of my
Yeah.
people there.
Oh, we could show you some things here too,
Would you
Wendy.
please? I love it. I think that's what helps me feel connected to places. Obviously, there's some places where you just land, and I mean, that's how Paris was for me. I went in 2001 and didn't even have a passport before that trip. And we went to London first, which was great and lovely, and then went to Paris. And I just, my first moments, my first inhale and exhale, I thought, oh my goodness, how can you be homesick for a place you've never been? But here I am. Oh my word. I that just captured my heart and held my heart for a decade. And then I spent time in the Loire Valley. Oh, oh, I also like the French countryside. Oh, look at that. There's so much that this beautiful country has to offer. So then to have such really an immersive love affair with a country and then to
Yes.
go somewhere else and feel like, oh, I didn't even know I could like another place. And here you are, Edinburgh. And I don't feel that in Italy. I love Italy. I love to visit Italy. It's not my place. It's okay.
Isn't it interesting? It'd be fascinating to know what it is that gives you that connection because Edinburgh and France, they are quite connected in a way because of the history, the
Sure.
king, the French queen, the blah, blah, blah. So they are connected, but completely different.
Completely different.
Completely. So it'd be interesting to know what it is that's speaking to you.
Right. I mean, interestingly enough, I felt a connection in when I went to Kenya. I mean, and that was, I think, when you're doing something that feels so much bigger than you,
Yes.
then of course you're connected.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I see myself revisiting that place as well. So it's just fun.
Well, it is, but you wonder how many other places there are, Wendy, that you would feel that connection.
Yeah, I don't know because I don't feel it everywhere I go.
No, no, but there are a lot of places you haven't been yet.
There are
So,
a lot of places I haven't been yet. And that's interesting too, because I love to travel, but I also love tradition. The reason that I keep leading trips to France is because I learn something every time I go that I'm eager to implement. So
uh,
it feels like curiosity and discovery, and I
yes,
don't have to look at my map all the time.
yes.
So there's some familiarity as well.
And I found that because I went to Germany last year too, but I didn't have time. So I went to Berlin for a week. And this time I went back to Berlin. And I know what you mean exactly. That you get to know a bit more. And it's just even the basic orientation. I know which way
Right?
is
Right?
up. I don't have to spend as much time focusing on the map. And I can now discover the next layer. And it's you build on it, don't you?
Yes.
Yes. I think then you can really get to know a place in depth rather than just traveling superficially through it. So I like to do that too. I do like the comfort of going to places I've been before, going back and thinking, oh, I love that restaurant, or, that
Right?
was lovely river walk or whatever. And then from using that as a base to then step out, push yourself further. Mm.
Yes. Oh, it's so good. I
It
love
is.
travel. I love that we're doing it. I love that we're saying yes to ourselves in that way. It's so fun.
It is. It is, Wendy. And as I said, we are very lucky to be in the position where we are at a time that we can do that or create these opportunities. So I'm always very grateful, and yes, I don't take it for granted.
Absolutely. Of course. I just want to reflect back to you and acknowledge and celebrate you're doing it. Like you took a class, you made a mind map, you did a brainstorm, and then you didn't just leave that in a drawer to find 2 years later and saying, "Oh yeah, I remember that class. That was nice." Like you're doing it. Good job.
Thanks, Wendy.
You're welcome.
And I hope that a lot of the other people in our group are doing it too. And maybe it's time to reach out and touch base with them and see how they're going.
Yes, I still am connected to a couple of them and they are doing it. So good. It's so
Excellent.
fun. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for this time. I really appreciate you.
Oh, Wendy, thank you. I appreciate you too. You have a way of encapsulating what someone's trying to say in fewer words and really hitting the nail on the head. You must know that's a skill of yours.
Thank you. I received that. I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. As always, any links or notes mentioned can be found at phineaswrighthouse.com in the podcast section of our site or in the show notes below. And if you haven't connected with me personally, come find me on Instagram at Phineas Wrighthouse and let me know you listened to this episode. I'd love to get to know you. Thank you for sharing this time with me. I know your days are full, and I'm really grateful that you chose to spend some of your precious time right here. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any of these delightful conversations. I'll see you next week.